If you're watching this as a recording, welcome. Leave a comment in the comment section and let me know where you're coming from. Years ago, I was in the hospital. I was so sick. I was having seizures. They couldn't keep my oxygen levels up. They couldn't keep my blood pressure up. I was down to 88 pounds. My hair was falling out. It was awful. But guess what? My blood work was fine. With all of that happening in my body, but I was hospitalized for weeks, but my blood work was fine. Like, no worries, your blood work looks good. I was so sick, I wasn't even functional. Now, come to find out, I was reacting to titanium. We ended up taking the titanium out after a bladder surgery, but my blood work was fine. That's when my quest began, that I took more accountability and responsibility for my health and my blood work. There are so many pieces that we can put together from our blood work. And I want to talk about two relatively inexpensive pieces of blood work that will give you such feedback and why some people taking desiccated liver and magnesium feel worse. Let's talk about the blood work. One, I've talked about so much. Guess. Magnesium red blood cell. Magnesium red blood cell. Because if you're low in vitamin D, we know your magnesium levels tanked first. And magnesium levels open the gateway to your health. Now, you can create health with lower levels, but it's harder. You don't optimize it, and it takes much longer, and it's a much more expensive journey. And so knowing where your magnesium levels are and getting them, in my opinion, and remember, my name's Kristen. I am not a doctor. I'm not diagnosing. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just sharing a little bit about my journey and what I did in hopes that it will help someone else. Because as I do that, it helps me make sense of that absolutely devastating financial, mental, emotional, and spiritual crash that my family experienced with me being out for so long. But remember, my blood work was normal. Everything looked good, but I was non-functional. And so I want to talk about the two pieces of blood work that really made a difference. Magnesium red blood cell, 6.3 or above. Now, the labs will say 5 is good, but years ago they lowered the standard because nobody was reaching 6.3. I still hold the gold standard of 6.3. You determine if you're okay with 5 or if you want that optimized that was the gold standard for years at 6.3. I go for 6.3. I maintain my 6.3. This last year and a half-ish, mine's dropped, and I haven't had that for a while. Some internal, external stress has gone up, so I'm having to adjust my soaking to maintain, and I'm also having to add better patterns, right? Taking better care of myself, setting stronger boundaries. A healthy woman has healthy boundaries. So let's talk about the other piece because I have talked about that a lot. Ferritin. Do you know where your ferritin levels are? Because if your ferritin levels are low or high, your oxygen levels are off. And if your oxygen levels are off, we're we're never going to get optimized health. And this last week, as I've worked one-on-one with clients, ferritin levels have been crazy low. Now, that's not saying everybody's are low or that yours are low, but there's a real pattern right now. And remember, creating health is about holding on to the grandma wisdom, eat your vegetables, sleep, stay hydrated, but also staying current with what's happening. And I am seeing a huge pattern in emails and consultations of low ferritin. Low ferritin can cause migraines, it can cause incredible fatigue, it can cause confusion, it autoimmune can be triggered, digestive issues can be triggered, blurriness, vision problems. It it's really affects every part of your body. And here's what I've for myself, and remember, you decide for you. For myself, as I've learned different things about ferritin, I want my numbers between 50 and 120, but about 70, give or take a little bit, is optimized for me. That's where I'm feeling. Now, does that mean, oh, Jackie, I'm so glad it's timely for you. Welcome. Appreciate you joining the live today. I'm so glad it's timely. Ferritin is just, and here's the thing. I always, when I say ferritin, desiccated liver, a whole food source of iron, and magnesium go hand in hand, because if your magnesium levels are low, that does change your iron levels and your need for balance in your body and your ferritin levels. Now, you can have normal iron panel and they'll say, oh, it looks good, but your ferritin wasn't tested. And if it's low or high, you don't feel good. And so it's about a $25 test online. Now, I can get it tested once a year with my insurance will pay for that. And so I pay out of pocket for the second test and I go online to walk-in labs and get my ferritin tested. It depends on your insurance, your situation, what is the best way for you. Realizing $25 is money. If you are not where you want to be and you've wondered, why can't I get healthy? Why doesn't anything work for me? You might want to look into your ferritin levels. And here's the thing that I think is so interesting, and this happens with magnesium also. The people who need magnesium the most, sometimes when they start soaking in magnesium, they feel the worst. Like, how can that be? Their magnesium levels are tanked. They soak in the very thing that their body needs, but they feel worse because it's been low for so long. Our body picks up the pieces and will take from other areas of your voltage. Voltage is health. Voltage is magnesium, potassium, and salt. And so you soak in magnesium and your potassium tries to act like magnesium, and then you soak in magnesium and it causes chaos in your body, but it's the very thing you need the very most. And so you have to approach it very differently if your magnesium has been tanked for a very long time and your body's kicked in and tried to have the potassium cover what the magnesium does. It transmutes that those benefits. Now, what an amazing thing your body's doing, but we need to recognize that when we're soaking, you can even get heart palpitations from soaking if your potassium and magnesium have been low for so long. And approaching that with soaking not as often and lifting potassium levels can be a way to help balance that without creating that level of chaos that you feel worse. I don't want to feel worse. I invest in my health. I invest in things that help my health to build that strong foundation, not to create chaos. But if you don't recognize that or haven't learned that, then you're like, oh, I feel worse with magnesium. I don't need that. No, you really need it. Your body has that, your voltage is tried to cover that imbalance, and we just have to approach it slower. And the same thing happens when people are super low in ferritin, because when you take desiccated liver, it builds your iron, right? But for people who are really low and have been low for a long time, they feel worse when they take the liver, when you take desiccated liver. And it's like, whoa, whoa, why is that happening? Because when you add iron, any type of iron, especially this whole food iron that has the natural cofactors and your body absorbs, your body produces hepcidin, and that increases inflammation. And if you've been sick for a very long time and you've had low ferritin for a very long time, that increase of inflammation is almost immediate and can last for 24 to 48 hours. And so someone that has had that experience and is at that part of their journey on creating health, you have to take this really slow, and you've got to make sure that you're building your iron levels and your ferritin levels as appropriate to your body and where that blood work is looking. Magnesium, soaking in magnesium, taking desiccated liver. I love the desiccated liver because of the B vitamins, the whole food vitamin A, whole food vitamin D. It's amazing, the most usable iron. But if your ferritin levels are really tanked, taking this every single day isn't going to give your body renewal and rest from the spike of inflammation that happens. In fact, I was talking to a doctor and he said that when ferritin levels are really low, he has his patients take iron every other day or every third day so they don't stay in a constant state of high inflammation from what your body releases when you take the iron to help it get absorbed. You need that releasing, but if your ferritin is that low or that high, I'm seeing lots of low, but high also. Low and high causes problems, the extreme of either end. You're not going to feel well, and you're going to stay in a state of constantly being inflamed. And so that's why your body, your journey, your way. We can't just follow what our bestie did yesterday because it worked for her. It's you have to put on that sleuth hat. I call it building a board of directors. So for example, I have people, hold on. I have people on my board of directors. Some I pay for, and some are just people that I appreciate their wisdom. Some of them know they're on my board of directors, and some of them don't know they're on my board of directors. Some of them, most of them I've met, some of them I haven't. And as you build that board of directors for your health, like you have to go to the person with the knowledge bank toward your health. And as you build that health portion out of your board of directors, and you pull information and then make decisions best for you. And remember, no blood work panel is perfect. I mean, obviously, how many of us are walking around and we're told our blood work looks great, but we don't feel well? And so understanding that blood work is critical into you taking that responsibility and accountability that I talked about at the beginning. I realized after my crash, I was laying that to other people because I was overwhelmed with being healthy instead of taking that for myself. And taking that back can add to your overwhelm if you don't have that board of directors built out and that guidance of what works best for you. And oh, maybe you're feeling awful soaking in magnesium because your potassium levels are low. So let's build those potassium levels so that we're preparing the body for the magnesium, because magnesium is the master mineral. And if you don't have enough magnesium and you start adding magnesium, your body will drop the potassium to pick up the master mineral. And then if you're already low on potassium, and your body drops it more to pick up the magnesium, you feel awful while that happens. So let's lift the potassium levels. A lot of people will ask, and I think this is germane to our conversation that you and I are having today, Kristen, what's the best way to have my potassium levels tested? And it's interesting because I personally would never test potassium levels through blood work, through hair mineral analysis. In my opinion, they're not accurate. For me, my experience and my journey, remember, you're deciding for you. I'm not diagnosing or prescribing. Tracking how much potassium I get in makes the biggest difference for me. And now I was just reading a study the other day that they're saying your food doesn't even correlate to your potassium levels. I think that might be an extreme view, and I need to dive deeper on that testing to figure out their point of view. Food has very much affected my potassium levels, and I feel better when I have more potassium, and my body handles and holds its magnesium better because it's not just about soaking every day here at Living the Good Life Naturally. It's also about adding in those lifestyle choices to help you hold on to magnesium more efficiently, to help your body be able to take desiccated liver every day and help get that ferritin level balanced out so that your oxygen levels are where they need to be. Because think of low oxygen. I have a fairy garden going on with my grandkids in our backyard. And we had some water that we put in. We're creating this fairy pond, and it had no bubbler or no oxygen in it. It was a mosquito haven and not very long. And I said to my husband, we have got to get out there and get a pump or something figured out to go in there, because no oxygen means it's green and slimy and attracting mosquitoes and the perfect place for them to breed. Our body's the same way. We need oxygen. If your ferritin levels are off, your oxygen levels are off. And there's so many things that interact with ferritin that, you know, between 50 and 120, they say, and my husband calls it the they brothers. Well, who's the they brothers? That consensus in the health community that people feel the best. Well, if I was at 50, I wouldn't feel my best. That wouldn't be at that optimal oxygen level that my body needs. And that's part of that individual journey. And not to overwhelm you, to help support you building a strong foundation. If you're building a strong foundation, we don't get as overwhelmed. But if you are overwhelmed right now, that's a hard place to be. And then you scroll social media and you learn more things that you have to do or more things that you have to figure out. And that can be a really heavy feeling on our shoulders. And so one of the things I like to do is take action, a small action. So if today you've learned about ferritin for the first time and you're like, oh my gosh, one more thing to do, put that aside. Put it in your tool belt. My tool belt, when I'm outside building things and learning how to use those tools, I don't use the tools all at once. No, I'm not using the hammer and this thingy that goes whir and that slide thingy. I'm not using that all at once. You can tell I'm very new to the tool world. I don't use those all at once. I'm using one at a time. Well, our health tool belt is the same way. We're using one tool at a time. So if ferritin's new to you and completely overwhelming, just put it in your tool belt. Oh, okay, I've got that in my tool belt. I'll pull it out when I need it. Now, is what some of us do is we add all the tools and all those pieces of information and we use it to stay sick because there's no way I can use all those tools at once. And if we stay in that state of overwhelm, then we're going to stay sick and never show up for people, for ourselves, for people that we love. It doesn't matter what you have in other areas of your life. If you don't have great health, it changes everything with the people that you love. It changes that relationship, that connection. And healthy women are connected women. And so if we stay stuck in that overwhelm because you learned another tool, let's visually, in fact, do it with me right now. Okay? Do it with me right now. Close your eyes if you can. Close your eyes and just imagine this big old tool belt, and you just put that ferritin tool in one of the little side pockets with a button, and you button it up. And you know, just leave it right there. Or you might decide, oh, this is resonating. I don't feel well. My labs look fine. I've worked on my health for so long and I still don't feel good. Maybe it's time to get my ferritin tested. And in you deciding which action to take, it walks you away from the overwhelm. And did you know that ferritin, high or low, drives depression and anxiety? Drives it, makes it worse, it aggravates it, it just heightens it. And so looking at that ferritin could be the very thing you need to do, or putting it in your tool belt and putting a button on it and just leaving it there, because you're not using all your tools at once, but you're not using information to stay overwhelmed. We are on information overload. And so if you're taking information to stay overwhelmed, you will never achieve optimal health. And there's another pattern I want to talk about that just quickly before we end. There's another pattern that will keep your it will make it so you have to soak all the time, and it will make it that you never achieve that optimal health that you're looking for. And that is that health comes in pieces, and it's not a linear pathway. Sometimes you slide back, sometimes you move forward. Optimized, healthy people still experience that part of the journey. And if you're looking for it to be whole and complete every day, you'll never appreciate the health gains that you have now, ever, ever. I call it upcycling. Like, your health was here, your goal is here, you went here and here and here, but because you're not here, you didn't recognize here, so therefore you still don't feel well, and you don't experience the benefits even though they're there. So that upcycling keeps you sick and tired, keeps you soaking in magnesium all the time. And the only way to change that pattern is to experience and create deep gratitude. Right now, even for someone who can't get out of bed, there are things happening in your body that you can create deep gratitude for. Blinking, moving parts of your body that are able to move. I've watched people that I love and clients who recognize that even as sick as they are, there are things that they can create deep levels of gratitude. Those are the people that start feeling better, not because they've taken this big action health step, but because they've created gratitude internally, and they're recognizing, oh, I did do a little bit more yesterday. I did feel a little bit better. It's not that you're there like you want to be, but you're on the journey to get there. And those people that make that mental mind shift, it's a game changer. But there's no pill or supplement or medication or anything to help with that one. It's you doing the internal work. And that shift is as powerful as soaking in magnesium, adding desiccated liver, getting those whole food B vitamins, whole food vitamin A, whole food vitamin D, getting those micronutrients in. And so that optimal health for me on my journey is as I work on the mindset and I add optimal oxygen levels to help me build a strong foundation. I'd love to know what part of today was helpful for you. Leave it in the comment section. Let me know, oh, this is my golden takeaway from what I listened to. This is the thing that I learned. And bonus points if you add just a micro action. Oh, I visualized putting that new information about ferritin in my tool belt. I'm not taking action on it right now. It's not the right time for me. Boom. That helps walk you out of overwhelm. And when we walk out of overwhelm, we're able to take more responsibility. We don't play the victim to our disease. And that helps you to create a strong foundation. And that's what living the good life naturally is all about. It was delightful being with you today. Oh, um, Tanya Ann, learning about ferritin was helpful. I just looked at my labs, and the last time it was checked was in 2013. Typically, they don't check it often. I have to request it every year. My insurance used to pay for it twice a year, and now it's only once a year. I like to have mine tested every year to determine where are my oxygen levels at, because ferritin determines oxygen levels. And it's something that's so important to me and has made such a difference for me that I want that tested twice a year. And I love that that was helpful for you, Tanya Ann. Thank you for sharing that with me. Here at Living the Good Life Naturally, we're taking micro steps. It's not the big, massive leaps, it's the little micro actions throughout the day, because health isn't created on Monday. Health isn't created when we've got our meal prep done. Health doesn't wait to be created until we did everything on our list. We're creating it every moment. We're walking toward it, we're walking away from it every moment. You might say you're waiting until you've got this supplement, or until you've got that perfect meal plan, or until you've gotten your list done. But in actuality, you are a creative soul, and you're creating it every single moment. And being aware of that helps me to recognize how powerful I am, that I am creating my health in every moment. How did that moment go? Did I move forward? Did I go backwards? And sometimes it's backwards, and that's okay. I'm still optimized and healthy. The backward steps help me stay in the forward momentum movement that it takes to get to that place where you're waking up in the morning and you feel good and you're ready to share your gifts, your personality, your passions with those people around you, and to connect deeply. Healthy women are connected women. I'll see you Monday. Bye bye. Oh, let's see, there's more comments here. Helpful to know about pacing desiccated liver. Jackie, wow, is it important? It I used to didn't see that very often. Like, it was so rare that I saw that, and I'm seeing it more and more because we're becoming sicker as a society. And so if that ferritin is really low or really high, picking that pathway and timing of that becomes as important as the quality of what you're taking. So I'm glad that helps. Oh, potassium. Potassium. Yeah, cream of tartar is a source of potassium. And for those who haven't heard about cream of tartar before, 1 teaspoon is about 500 milligrams. I can take up to 2 teaspoons of potassium a day without having stomach upset. Remember that cream of tartar is synthetic, and some people will have stomach upset at 500 milligrams. So go slow with that, and remember that yes, we can supplement with that, but we always want to make sure we're getting that whole food potassium. Two of my favorites are Harmless Harvest coconut water and avocados, let's say three of my favorites, and beans. Those are all great sources of potassium. Choline, taking action on the ferritin level. Oh, it was high. Yeah, to take, yeah, that rusting. Oh, Colleen was on our magnesium masterclass. We talked about that low oxygen causes rust. And if you're low ferritin or high ferritin, think of your cells literally becoming rusted out. And that's not a healthy body. And so checking that ferritin level might need to become a part of your routine as you determine how much energy you'll put on knowing where your ferritin is at. And your decision might be different than my decision. It's not that oh, I'm doing exactly what my bestie does. It's what's right for me. Yeah. And oh, for those of you that would enjoy joining the masterclass, Shelley has added the link to the Good Journal, and that's the only place that link for the masterclass. We hop on Zoom together, and it's the only place that links goes. It's a free class. It happens once a month on the first Monday of every month at 11 Mountain Standard Time, and usually go for about an hour. And send out a transcript and some notes and thoughts about the class. And I'd love to have you join me on that. Have a great week. Let's see, we're midweek, so enjoy the rest of your week. Bye bye.